Hello everybody, this is the Daydreamer with Daydreams and Nightmares, and it is time for another edition of Welcome to My Collection Wednesdays. I have been working my way through all of my Valiant comic books. I am down to 2 titles. These are the 2 Origin Valiant comic books, although neither of these were original characters from Valiant. They were originally Golden Key Comics, and taken on by Valiant. So they aren't originals, but they are the first 2 characters that were created under the Valiant logo. One being the one that you're looking at, which is Solar, or Solar, Man of the Atom, and the other will be the one that I get to next week and the last of my Valiant collection, which will be Magnus, Robot Fighter. What you are currently looking at is Solar, Man of the Atom #1. Like I said, it was originally or Solar, Dr. Solar is what they called him at the time, originally appeared in Gold Key Comics in 1962. In Valiant, he made his appearance in 91. The Magnus Robot Fighter came out in May. This came out in September. So this was the second title released by Valiant in 91. The character is known as Phil Selesky or Dr. Solar or any variations of that. Apparently he had an accident in which his body transformed into pure energy. Actually, the first 10 books in this series there's actually a 10-part series that is part of the first 10 books that actually explain his origin story. There's not a zero origin story. There's actually bits and pieces of his origin story in each of the first 10 books of this series. And actually there is a 2-page pinup that's part of that origin story. And if you take all 10 of those pinups and put them together, you'll actually get the climax of the origin story from Solar, the Man of the Atom. So those first 10 books are all part of that series and making that happen. He's a super genius. He is able to manipulate energy and both at the atomic and subatomic levels, invulnerability, immortality, super strength, super speed, teleportation, flight. The series ran from 1991 to 1996. There were 60 issues in the run. I might have about a third of the run at best. This is probably the one series where the very beginning of the run I have a huge number of gaps in the collection that I have for this title. If you want a comparison in the DC and Marvel worlds and universe, he is very much like the Watchmen's Dr. Manhattan, or I would compare him to like the Silver Surfer from Marvel, as far as a character being able to manipulate energy and matter at these atomic levels. Let's get into the books. You're looking at #1. Cover art here was done by Barry Windsor Smith. Story was done by Jim Shooter. And as I said, the first 10 books are part of the, there's a 10-part story that is the origin story as part of these as well. I have #1, but I do not have #2, because I skip all the way to #3 after that. Number 3, cover art here was done by Barry Windsor Smith, story by Jim Shooter. This is the very first appearance of Toyo Harada from the Harbinger Foundation. So it is a key book in the series as far as first appearances go. Number 4, the cover art here was done by Bob Layton and David Perlin. Story done by Jim Shooter. Number 5, cover art done by Barry Windsor Smith. Story done by Jim Shooter. And then we skip from 5 all the way up to 9. Not only am I missing 2, but I'm also missing 6, 7, and 8. Number 9 here is Barry Windsor Smith on the cover, Jim Shooter doing story again as well. This is number 9 out of 10 of the books of the origin story as well. And of course, I don't have 10 as well. That's the black cover. I skip all the way from 9 all the way up to 15, so I'm missing 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. So, like I said, big gaps in this particular run and series that I have. Now, number 15 right here, cover art here is done by Joe Quesada. There is a large number of writers, there's 3 writers involved in the writing of this, and I think it's kind of significant as well. This is, the story was done by Jim Shooter, Steve Ditko, and Kevin Van Hook on this particular story. It is also, I believe, the last one done by Jim Shooter before his ouster from Valiant. Apparently he burned his bridges at Valiant as well as Marvel. Also in this particular issue is the second appearance of Dr. Eclipse. Number 16. Now going forward, just about every one of these, the story and script is done by Kevin Van Hook, with a couple collaborations along the way. And then there is a wide variety of different cover artists that are involved in this as well. Number 16 here, cover art once again is done by Joe Quesada, written by Bob Layton and Kevin Van Hook. Number 17, cover art here also done by Joe Quesada, and Bob Layton and Kevin Van Hook on the story for this as well. Solar Man of the Atom, number 18. Cover art here done by Peter Grau and Stan Drake. Kevin Van Hook on the storyline. Now another gap, 18 to 20. I don't have 19 either. We have number 20, Solar Man of the Atom, Joe Quesada on cover art, and as well as Kevin Nolan. And then I believe through the rest of these are all Kevin Van Hook on story, with one exception of a collaboration. I'll mention that when I get to it. Number 21. Now this is the start of a 3-story arc of Dr. Solar and Master Dark. All 3 of these, 21, 22, and 23, involve storylines with Master Dark. Cover art here on 21 is Joe Quesada and Jimmy Palmiotti. Let's add appearance of Master Dark in here. Once again, Master Dark involved in the storyline here as well. 22, Joe Quesada on the cover. Number 23, Joe Quesada and Bob Layton. On cover art, we have appearance by the Geomancer in this particular storyline as well. Number 24, Mike Mignola. Most know from his artwork of Hellboy, with an appearance of Toyo Harada in this particular storyline here as well. Again, number 24. Solar Man of the Atom, number 25. Cover art here done by Mike Leake and Bob Layton. A whole bunch of appearances in this particular storyline. You have Harbinger, Eternal Warrior, Master Dark, Dr. Eclipse, all turning up in the storyline for this. Number 26. Sean Chen and Fred Fredericks on cover art. Collaboration on script here by Tony Bedard and Kevin Van Hook. Number 27. Mr. Philip Selesky going on a dream walk with an Aboriginal in Australia. Cover art here is done by Mike Leake and Jimmy Palmiotti. Number 28. Cover art done by Mike Leake. And the last one I have in my collection anyway is number 29. As you see here as well, presented in Valiant Vision. This was the very first book that Valiant put out as part of their Valiant Vision books, 3D comics. And they sold the glasses separately in a Valiant Vision starter kit that you could pick up. By the way, cover art here is done by Joe Quesada as well. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed these covers of Solar, Man of the Atom. Like I said, I have about a third of the run of this. A little bit of a nostalgia from the comic books from the 90s. Anyway, if you like it, hit like, subscribe if you want to watch more. Feel free to leave any feedback or comments down below. And thank you for watching.